invites you to a once-in-a-lifetime celebration, Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Join us as we put you right at the heart of the celebrations, with incredible live events and front row seats to some of the biggest acts in music, performing live at a party at the Palace. Come celebrate with us. Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee Weekend, live on BBC One and iPlayer.
Here we go. Could be lively, folks. And it's a colossal shot.
It is an absolutely stupendous bit of fielding.
What a finish. Every single man, woman and child are on their feet.
Today at the test, England versus New Zealand. Watch now on BBC iPlayer.
This is BBC One Northern Ireland. Now the spring bank holiday news with Reeta Chakrabarti at Buckingham Palace.
Happy and glorious. Huge crowds cheer on the Queen as the Platinum Jubilee celebrations get underway. She was joined on the balcony at Buckingham Palace by several generations of her family, and the youngest member stole the show. They watched 70 aircraft take part in a spectacular flypast, which included the world-famous Red Arrows. Tens of thousands of people from around the UK and from across the world thronged the streets, hoping to catch a glimpse of proceedings.
If I had one thing to say to the Queen, I would say, you've done an amazing job of 70 years on the throne. God save the Queen!
Enjoying the ride, George, Charlotte and Louis made their debut appearance in a royal carriage at the Trooping the Colour parade. More than 3,000 beacons have been lit up around the country and the Commonwealth to mark the Queen's reign. But it's been announced that after experiencing some discomfort, the Queen now won't attend a service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's tomorrow. Also tonight, Ukraine urges the West to step up the delivery of weapons as fighting intensifies in the east of the country. And 17 wickets fall on the first day of the first test between England and New Zealand at Lord's. The match is finely balanced. Good evening from Buckingham Palace, which, as you can see, is lit up with images of the Queen throughout her long reign. It's been a momentous day here, with huge crowds cheering for Her Majesty as the first of 4 days of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations got underway. It began with the Trooping the Colour parade and was followed by a spectacular flypast, marking her unprecedented 70-year reign. And a short while ago, thousands of beacons were lit across the UK. In light of her recent health issues, she restricted her appearance to the palace balcony instead of inspecting the troops in person, as is traditional. And this evening, it was announced that the Queen will not be attending tomorrow's service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's. Here's our royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell.
Windsor Castle this evening. The Queen was present to light the first of the Jubilee beacons. But in a surprise development, Buckingham Palace has said that the Queen will not now be able to attend the service of Thanksgiving tomorrow at St Paul's Cathedral. The reason, all the palace will say, is that the Queen experienced some discomfort today when she travelled into London to appear briefly after Trooping the Colour. There'd certainly been no sign of any difficulties during the event. The Queen had appeared on the palace balcony, walking carefully and leaning on her stick. For the first time in her reign, she did not attend the parade itself. It had been left to the Prince of Wales to lead the royal party from Buckingham Palace down to Horse Guards Parade. Also riding on horseback behind Charles were Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, and Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. And riding together in one of the carriages, the Cambridges' 3 children, Prince George, Prince Louis waving away happily in the middle, and Princess Charlotte. And the more the crowd waved, the more Louis waved, until his sister decided that that was probably enough. As the procession made its way down the Mall, a group of animal rights protesters broke through the tight police cordon and attempted to disrupt one of the marching bands before being dragged away by police. On Horse Guards Parade, the Foot Guards had formed up. Plenty to look at and plenty to get used to for these newcomers to the parade. They will be seeing it many times in the years to come. Absent from the parade, the Duke of York, stripped of his role as honorary colonel of the Grenadier Guards. The Prince of Wales led the inspection of the troops on behalf of his mother. It's the first time the heir to the throne has presided over the parade since 1951, when the then Princess Elizabeth represented her ailing father, George VI. Keen young eyes were watching from the windows overlooking the parade ground. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were also watching from the same building. Their presence was caught by photographers. For an hour, the Guards regiments demonstrated their marching skills. The colour of the Irish Guards was trooped. The spectacle was completed by the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. At Buckingham Palace, the Royal Standard was being raised to signify that the Queen had arrived from Windsor, ready for her appearances on the palace balcony. The military parade on Horse Guards over, the crowds were allowed up the Mall towards Buckingham Palace. They filled the spaces around the Victoria Memorial. On the balcony, the Queen and the working members of the royal family and their children, one of whom was about to steal the show. Overhead there was a fly-past, the finest Britain's armed services could offer. Watching was 4-year-old Louis, still waving for all he was worth, fascinated by what he was seeing overhead one moment, clapping his hands to his ears the next. The Queen, of course, has seen it all before. Her 70 years on the throne were marked in style. The Jubilee celebrations are underway, but once again with the news tonight that she will not be at St Paul's Cathedral tomorrow, there is uncertainty about the degree to which she will be involved. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News, Buckingham Palace.
Well, as we saw just a short while ago, the Queen led the lighting of beacons to mark the end of the first day of the Jubilee celebrations, including the so-called Tree of Trees, which is behind me. In all, around 3,000 beacons have been lit across the UK and the Commonwealth, as our correspondent Elaine Dunkley reports, and a warning, her report does contain flashing images.
I, Hadrian, Emperor...
This is one of the jewels in the crown of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. The beacons, a majestic sight in honour of Her Majesty. At Caulfield's Quarry, Hadrian's Wall, the backdrop to a dramatic climax.
I'm taking part in a bit of history here, something that probably won't be repeated for a long time, if ever. You get a feeling of kind of mounting anticipation, obviously, as you get to the place where it's all going to happen. You know, I start to get into character a little bit, start to feel, you know, less like an IT manager and more like a Roman archer.
Tonight is about celebrating the Queen's 70-year reign. But this event is also about recognising those who have served their community.
When I was fostering, I set up a charity for disabled children, and that won a Queen's Award. I personally think she's a very strong woman. She's worked very hard for this country. 70 years of service, and she's never had one complaint and hardly one day off. She's just an amazing woman. I'll absolutely love her.
I'll sing the verses, you all do the choruses.
These events have taken weeks of planning. At the local primary school in Brampton, children have been learning the Jubilee song
Fold it over.
and making lanterns.
She's the oldest queen that has ever lived. She's been crowned for the longest time as well. And have you noticed that the Queen always carries a bag around?
What do you think's in the bag?
she's got lipstick in it.
In the provinces, the celebrations were held everywhere.
Lighting beacons is a tradition which stretches back centuries. This is one of many built to mark the Queen's grandfather, George V's Silver Jubilee in 1935. Beacons have also been lit across the Commonwealth in New Zealand, Australia and Fiji. In Scotland, there were flames in the grounds of Edinburgh Castle. In Wales, a beacon in the Brecons. And pipers and choirs, the soundtrack to the light radiating in Ballymena in Northern Ireland. Beacons represent hope, a guiding light. They mark a momentous occasion, the Queen's 70 years on the throne. And tonight, they are a symbol of communities and people coming together. Elaine Dunkley, BBC News.
Well, it's quiet here now, but earlier in the day we had to fight our way through the crowds to get here. People had come from all over the UK and all around the world. Here's a flavour of the atmosphere and the thoughts of some of those who were here.
It was 10 deep on the Mall as people gathered to watch the parade. Those at the back couldn't really see much, but that seemed to bother absolutely no one.
It's incredible. I've never seen it like this, and it just really feels like a very special occasion. We're delighted to be here.
You can't see very much from back here. Does that matter?
No, do you know what's actually been really helpful? All of the cameras in front of us. We've been getting some quite good shots of what's going on anyway.
Some people had travelled thousands of miles to be here.
You came from Canada? Yeah. Oh my goodness, specifically for this?
Specifically for this, Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee. We came here 10 years ago for the Diamond Jubilee.
Extraordinary. And why? Why have you come
Because
this
Her
way?
Majesty the Queen has been faithfully serving us and the Commonwealth for the last 70 years.
Claire was there.
Yeah.
Claire, why are you here?
Well, I think it's a very special occasion. We're never going to see this again, are we, really? Not with our Queen, bless her. And I just feel it's very special and you've got to be part of the atmosphere.
For others, this was the tonic needed after the last long 2 years.
Incredibly proud to be part of this and the sense of togetherness, which we haven't really felt in a long time, especially due to the pandemic. It's really special.
And why are you here?
Oh, I'm here celebrating the occasion. You know, it's nice bringing communities together and we're all here. You know, that's why I'm here.
Where have you come from today?
All the way from, you know, Southport, England's classic resort. So, yeah, just soaking it all up, making the most of it.
We were just chatting and you were saying you thought these days were very special for a particular reason. Just tell me again.
I just think that it's great that all the good things about our country are exhibited today, because like all the good people come out and there's a sense of togetherness, and it's just a great event. I was here 20 years ago. It's just great to be here again.
It's the atmosphere.
It's the atmosphere, sense of community, all together, all for the country and for the Queen. It's great.
You sound a bit emotional.
I am a little bit.
A great day out for so many people. Well, good wishes have also been pouring in for the Queen from around the world. Among those paying tribute was President Macron of France and President Biden of the United States.
Your Majesty, congratulations on your Platinum Jubilee. For 70 years, you've inspired people with your selfless devotion and service to the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. And throughout your reign, the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States has grown stronger and closer than ever.
You have been a constant presence and a source of wisdom for the leaders of our two countries. This year, the 70th of your reign, we celebrate your achievements. We are grateful for your courage, and we share the respect and love that the British people and Commonwealth have always shown you.
And I'm joined by Nicholas Witchell here with me now. Nick, a big moment for the royal family today, but the Queen won't be there tomorrow.
Yes, and that is a surprise. There is no question about that. We had understood that the service at St. Paul's was the most important event in the Jubilee programme for the Queen, given the importance of her Christian faith. We understand from the palace that she experienced these episodic mobility issues during the day today. She encountered some discomfort, so with great reluctance, we're told, she has pulled out of the service tomorrow at St. Paul's, given the journey in from Windsor, given the physical demands of the service. But it underlines, I think, that we are now entering somewhat unknown territory. One by one, she's handing over these major public events to the Prince of Wales. The underlying message, really, from the palace, increasingly, both visual and written, is focusing on the future, for all that we're celebrating the past. And the Queen's own message, her Jubilee message, talked about her confidence in the future. I think we can assume that she's talking about her confidence in the future of the monarchy once it passes to Prince Charles and then to Prince William. And I think the palace feels that it is important through the Jubilee to reinforce that message.
And there'll be another notable absence tomorrow, that's Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew will not be at the service at St. Paul's. No, he'd been expected, but according to Buckingham Palace, he has tested positive for COVID. He will not be at St. Paul's. We're told that he has not seen the Queen since he tested positive.
Nick, thank you very much. Nicholas Witchell there. Well, the Queen has recognised more than 1,000 people in her birthday honours list. Numerous previously unsung men and women working for charities and their communities have been recognised, along with household names from the worlds of entertainment and of sport, as Lizo Mazimba reports.
In the world of entertainment,
Rebus made 3 circuits driving slowly.
Ian Rankin, author of the multi-million-selling Rebus novels, says he's honoured to be knighted for services to literature and charity. Damien Lewis has been made a CBE for services to drama and charity. Together with his late wife Helen McCrory, who died of cancer just over a year ago, he helped raise over £1 million to provide food for NHS workers during COVID. In a statement, he said, "She and I are both thrilled." Fashion designer Stella McCartney is too made a CBE. While actress Pauline Quirk, Coronation Street star Helen Worth and singer Bonnie Tyler all become MBEs. In the world of politics, Arlene Foster rose to the top, becoming Northern Ireland's first female First Minister. She's been made a Dame for political and public service.
Obviously I was thrilled. I've been a representative here for 18 years and then as the first female First Minister in Northern Ireland as well. So it's really Northern Ireland's award as well.
In the world of sport, broadcaster Claire Balding becomes a CBE.
I'm amazed and just completely overwhelmed by it, to be honest. But I do think it's a reflection of how much people love sport. And I hope it's also a reflection of the growth of women's sport and the added reward and recognition there is for women's sport and women in sports broadcasting.
Cricket star Moeen Ali says he's proud and happy to be made an OBE.
It's curling gold!
The Olympic gold medal winning curling team are also recognised. Captain Eve Muirhead is made an OBE, the rest of the team MBEs. Most honours, though, go to people not in the public eye. People like Patricia Husselby, recognised for 65 years of volunteering for the Poppy Appeal.
It makes you feel special. It makes you feel, all our hard work has been, it brought you a reward. As I say, I'm just delighted about it. Delighted, absolutely delighted.
She's just one of many honoured for their work in the community. Lizo Mazimba, BBC News.
I'll be back a little later in the programme, but now back to Martine in the studio for the rest of the day's news.
Reeta, thank you very much. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for weapons deliveries to be stepped up as he warned that Russia now controls a fifth of his country. It came as Mr Zelensky met the new US ambassador to Ukraine, Bridget Brink. In an interview with the BBC, Ms Brink said she hoped weapon deliveries would strengthen the Ukrainians' hand in any negotiations. Our correspondent Joe Inwood reports.
The battle for Severodonetsk is not over, it seems. This is how one Ukrainian soldier experiences it. Body cam footage released on social media shows intense street fighting as they try to hold back the Russian advance. calm down, it's okay, he says. One of his colleagues has been hit. They apply pressure to the wound before trying to get him to safety. It has been increasingly hard to get a clear picture of what is happening on the ground. Even as the fighting rages, the region's governor knows this city may fall.
It's not the battle for Severodonetsk which is most important. We need to win the war. The Luhansk region became the fortress to hold back a huge influx of Russian forces. By holding them back, we don't just keep them at a distance. They lose equipment and personnel. Meanwhile, we receive weapons from our partners.
And it's weapons like these they're talking about. Long-range rocket artillery called HIMARS. It's thought they could change the course of this war.
It is great to be in Kyiv. Thanks so much for coming out.
They're being delivered by the United States. And today, the new American ambassador met the president and then the media. She also gave the BBC her first international broadcast interview.
Part of our goal in providing all of this security assistance is also to strengthen the Ukrainians' hands at the negotiating table. So it helps create a better situation for Ukraine, as they may be looking at some point to how this conflict ends. But I think it's quite remarkable the success that the Ukrainians have had.
Russia's invasion has triggered an expansion of NATO, with Finland and Sweden applying to join the defensive alliance. Could Ukraine one day follow them?
Ultimately, Ukraine will have to decide what it wants in its future. And then, as is with the membership process, the leadership of NATO countries then also make a decision. So I think if we're in that place, if we're in that position, I think we're in a very good position, because right now we got to help Ukraine win the war.
But that moment is still a long way away. Cities in the path of Russia's invasion are still emptying out. This was Slavyansk earlier today, a key Russian target. Those who can, flee. Those who can't, face an increasingly uncertain future. Joe Inwood, BBC News, Kyiv.
A ceasefire in Yemen has been extended for another 2 months. The country's civil war started in 2014 when Houthi rebels took over the capital, prompting a Saudi-led military intervention in support of the government a year later. The United Nations estimates that more than 400,000 people have died in the conflict. The actor Amber Heard is planning an appeal after losing a defamation trial against her former husband Johnny Depp over allegations of domestic abuse. Ms. Heard says she's heartbroken, while Johnny Depp says he has his life back. But many questions are being raised about the level of online abuse and the wider impact this case could have. From Washington, here's David Silito.
Johnny Depp wins in his lawsuit against
Stunning verdict. Victory for Johnny.
This morning, the growing fallout.
Stunning, unexpected, dramatic were the words today that greeted Johnny Depp's legal victory. Amber Heard had alleged she had endured years of abuse. The jury didn't believe her. However, her lawyers are not giving up yet.
Her next move is appeal. There were a number.
Heartbroken.
She is heartbroken. And one of the first things that she said when she came back from the verdict, when we went into the conference room, was, "I am so sorry to all these women."
This is a case that struck deep. Online, it's become almost inescapable.
Yeah, I've been following it on like TikTok and stuff.
You've been following it on what?
Yeah, little snippets on TikTok. I mean, if you go on TikTok, it's like, it kind of just like appears in your feed.
I think it's really weird to publicize a domestic abuse trial like that.
The number of views of videos with the hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp has now topped 19.5 billion. Yes, 19.5 billion. This online torrent has left many deeply concerned.
I fear that the impact will be quite negative, from the memes to the hashtags to the online bullying. Victims are watching this and they are thinking about, how will I be treated if I come forward?
And it should be noted, in a previous UK trial, Amber Heard's allegations were judged to be substantially true. But this second trial has been very different.
And remember, Amber Heard was not writing in the Washington Post as Johnny Depp's ex-wife. She was a spokeswoman, an ambassador for a civil rights organization talking about women's rights and Me Too. And many people watching her testimony began to have doubts on what impact it could all have on a wider movement.
Take Yasmin Bedwood. She got 4.4 million hits for one of her videos about the trial, and what drew her in were concerns about Amber Heard.
This is someone who has become the face of a movement that women have been fighting for years. And so to have someone be at the front of that and not be truthful is damaging to not only the organization, but I think women overall.
But for Johnny Depp, who has this week been performing in the UK, the trial has changed everything. For Team Johnny, it's case closed, reputation restored. David Solito, BBC News.
Cricket, and a remarkable 17 wickets fell on the first day of the first test between England and New Zealand at Lord's. England got off to a strong start, bowling New Zealand out for 132 runs. But after reaching 59 without losing a wicket, England's batting then collapsed and they ended the day on 116 for 7. Our sports correspondent Joe Wilson was watching.
At Lord's, Old Father Time has overseen countless fresh starts. This new dawn made it to late afternoon. In the morning, James Anderson, 40 next month, bowling to defy age to dismiss young. New Zealand's Will Young. England's bowling and catching was excellent. Johnny Bairstow held everything, eventually. Well, you've seen Anderson take wickets before, about 640 times. This is new. This is Matthew Potts. He made an instant impact on his debut, especially on the stumps. 4 wickets for him in total. Now, Jack Leach epitomised commitment, making a brave dive in the field. He was able to walk away but suffered symptoms of concussion, and he's been replaced in this match. New Zealand's first innings ended like this, 132 all out. That bit is about as good as the new captain and the new coach would have dared to expect. But remember the context, months of disappointments for England, unprecedented upheaval, changes in every key role. So now, could they bat? A yes here from Zach Crawley, who made 43, but just when you were sitting comfortably, England's collapse. It included Ollie Pope, dismissed for 7.
Feathered through.
Joe Root out for 11.
Oh, got him.
Skipper Ben Stokes just made 1. Johnny Bairstow gone for 1, on the way to England finishing the day 116 for 7. Matthew Potts even had to bat, made 0. Welcome to international cricket, England style, where nothing is certain. Joe Wilson, BBC News, Lords.
Let's rejoin my colleague Reeta Chakrabarti at Buckingham Palace. Reeta.
Martine, this has been a day of high emotion for everyone who was here. The air of joy and celebration of this historic moment was palpable throughout the day. This is a major milestone for the Queen, for the royal family, and for everyone who supports them. Of course, there are some people who aren't interested in today's events, and for them it may simply have been an occasion to enjoy the bank holiday and the good weather. But for those whose day was devoted to the Jubilee, it was all about the pageantry and the keen sense of community felt by everyone. Well, that is all from us. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. But before we go, let's look back at some of the memorable images from the first day of the Queen's Jubilee celebrations.
By the centre! Slow! March!
Hello there, good evening.